All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about preparing the trap for your Mousetrap car. And these traps have all been used before. Maybe you have one there that has not been used before, or maybe you have one that looks like this, got glue on it or just a little bit of glue. Either way, it's gonna work. If you still have the fake cheese platter, you can pop that off and get rid of that. There's also a staple here that's used to hold that. You can remove that if you have a pair of pliers, or in this case, a wire cutter. Same thing with the staple here at the end that holds the rod that holds the lever in place. You can get rid of all of that, so you're just left with the trap. So basically, the parts of the trap here would be the spring, and we'll call this the lever. Okay, without the hold down arm, there's no risk here of hurting yourself unless you put your finger there and let it fly, which obviously is not recommended here, but it's not going to go off by itself. So our goal here is to get the power from the spring to the back wheels or front wheels of your Mousetrap car. And we're going to do that by attaching a lever. The lever is a wooden dowel rod. It's about 300 millimeters long, close to a foot. It's a 1/4 inch in diameter, or 6 millimeters. And the first thing you'll do is clean off your trap. So if you have some glue on there, you can work on tearing that off. You might have to get a pair of pliers just to rip it off like that. And you might also notice that on the bottom of the trap, there are 4 or 5 dots where it was glued to the last car. That's okay. They don't have to be super clean. If you want to take time and pick that off, you certainly can, but you don't have to. It's not really gonna affect the power of your car at all. Now, fighting with this spring while trying to glue this on gets a little frustrating because you're trying to attach this round dowel rod to a round piece of metal, and it doesn't work easily. Hot glue isn't the best way to do it. So what I've learned here is if we just remove the tension off the spring, if we just lift the spring and move it to that side, now this thing is a lot easier to work on, okay? Because you don't have that constant power of the spring snapping back. Now we want to attach this lever over here. If we put it underneath like that, then the spring cannot get a full range of motion here, or the lever cannot get a full range of motion because it's going to stop right there. And the more this arm can move, the more power you're going to get to your car. So putting it on the bottom will work, but might not work as well. Putting it on the top is going to get you a more full range of motion there. Putting it on the side isn't a bad option as well. But the challenge here is, how do we get it to stay? How are we going to attach it? And the answer is, there's no great way given these materials, but here's one thing that you can do. You could take your hot glue gun and put a little bead of glue on there and then glue it right onto the side, all right? The other thing you can do is take this flat surface, or round surface rather, and make it flat. So if you take a piece of sandpaper and you put it on the edge of your table, or you elevate this on something like, got a scrap piece of wood right here. Now, if I take about, that much, I can put a little pencil mark here so I know how much is gonna be on the Mousetrap. And if I hold this right there and move it back and forth, I can create a flat spot on the dowel rod. Okay, now of course there's other ways to do this. A file would work, a power sander would be awesome, but for those of you working at home, this may be the easiest and quickest way, and it could be the only way you've got. So what you're doing is just creating a little bit of a flat spot on the dowel rod to give you more surface area to glue this thing together. So what I'm going to do is take some glue, and I'm going to lay a fairly large bead of glue right on that flat spot of the arm. Now I don't want to get glue on the Mousetrap on the base, so I'm going to then lift it up before that glue gets too cold. I'm just going to stick it on there, kind of embedding the Mousetrap arm in some glue. It's not pretty, but something like that should work. You can still get a fairly good range of motion here by putting it on the side. Now, we also have some zip ties. One of these zip ties you will need for the axle later on, but you might have an extra zip tie or two. I think I tried to get 3 in each of your supply kits. And what you can do is add a zip tie, and of course I got some glue on the zip tie because I'm in such a hurry. Let's try that again. Wait till the glue dries. There we go. You can take a zip tie and add a zip tie near the top of that arm. Pull it really tight. And you can add another one near the bottom. Although the glue is doing the majority of the work, this is going to add a little bit more strength to that glue connection. Just like that. And then we can take our extra zip tie and trim those off with a wire cutter or even a pair of scissors. We can then take our spring and put it back on top, and now we have a fairly strong connection there for the Mousetrap arm.